Check out my new Rikon 10-inch bandsaw. I really like it. It seems to be very well made. And the only complaint I ever saw on the web was that it came without a miter guide. So let me show you how you can make your own miter guide, maybe as a first project on your bandsaw. Let's take a closer look. Here's my just finished homemade miter guide, and to give you an idea of its accuracy, I'll just set it right here. I've set this at 90 degrees. Turn on the bandsaw and take a trip right through some wood. And when I'm done, we can take and give you a look at its accuracy for 90-degree cut. Let's go ahead and take a shot at a 45-degree cut. I'll loosen the wing nut, whip it around to 45 degrees, tighten my wing nut down, hold the wood in place, and I'll just come right through this. Use this as a little bit of a push stick. We can see right there, I hope you got a view of that. There's my 45 degrees. It's probably not perfect, but it's GE, good enough for whatever I do. Now let's take a look at how this thing went together. So the first thing I did, I happened to have just one of these old plastic protractors, and I got a piece of hard maple that I had as scrap. And I have one nice edge on here, so I took my protractor and I set it on there. My protractor is now glued down to this piece of wood, so if you can pretend it's not there. Then I used this trick I saw another guy doing on YouTube, where you take a washer and you set that washer next to the surface that you would like to enlarge slightly. You take the pencil and just roll it around there, and you can see I've got an arc, not very dark, but I have an arc just a little bit bigger than my protractor. So now I can take and go to my new bandsaw and cut slightly outside of this pencil line. And then after that's done, I can take that rough cut and go up against my belt sander and just take it right down to the line and make it nearly perfect. I then took and I drilled a hole through the protractor that was about the same size as the bolt I wanted to run through there, and I hit it dead center here on the crisscross. Now, after I did that, I took super glue, applied super glue to the wood, and then on the bottom side of the protractor, I sprayed some accelerator. When I put the two together, they set up almost instantly. Now to get the rail, I had another piece of this scrap maple, and I ran it through the bandsaw. I measured very carefully and ran it through the bandsaw, so I made it just fit snug and tight in the groove on the table of the bandsaw. After I had that scrap piece of wood, I drilled through dead center, and I drilled in such a spot where you can see I wanted to have a little bit of wood hanging out the back for marking purposes. After I drilled through this small piece of wood, you can see on the back side, I took a countersink and I did a little countersink on it. So then my bolt will fit in there and slide flush. I take this around and thread it together. And just for extra tightness, I went ahead and put a washer on there. And then this bolt's a little bit too long. I might replace it with a shorter one. Now I took a square and I took angles that I think I would be using a lot, like 90, 60, 45, and 30. And I drew a line out and I drew it down on the side all the way around. You can see those. I think I'll probably put clear urethane over these so they don't rub off. Then I took this whole contraption and set it down into the groove on my bandsaw. And I took a square, kind of like this piece of wood, and I squared it off with the blade, tightened it down, and then made a mark exactly right there so it would be calibrated to my bandsaw. So there it is. And when you get all done, I know you can buy these, but what's kind of cool, this probably costs just the price of this bolt and wing nut, piece of plastic. These were all scraps I had, so it didn't cost me anything. But you always have that little bit of warm feeling that I made this myself. I created it myself. I didn't have to go out and buy one at Sears. And it does the job good enough. So good luck, give it a try.